Marie's like the most organized, amazing person ever. That's great. You remember all the things. Okay. So I'm not going to take like a huge amount of time explaining my story, but basically, I have had I had digestive issues. This is in my past now, thankfully. I had digestive issues for, I would say, close to 6 years. And I really, really struggled. I went back and forth between doctor's appointments and doing all the things, blood work, colonoscopies, all of the different things to try and figure out what exactly was wrong. And at the point where I discovered natural solutions and health preventative issue or health solving it, sorry guys, ways to solve the problems that I was dealing with, I was like at a complete loss. I was ready to give up. I had no end in sight to the issues that I was dealing with. I was all over the spectrum of feeling digestive complaints. Like I had so many different problems that I was dealing with. And I had really lost hope because everybody that I was talking to was basically telling me that it was in my head. And if you've ever had digestive issues before, you know how much of a struggle it can be and how difficult it can feel to feel like you know exactly what's going on, but nobody can tell you a reason for why it's happening. So I had gone through elimination diets. I had gone through different medications. I had gone through probiotics, like the whole 9 yards. And I saw a girl posting on Instagram about this little gem right here. And I'll show you guys this. You'll hear me talk about it. I will praise this oil till the cows come home. It is the most amazing oil, even though it smells the worst. So I saw a girl talking about it on Instagram. She was talking about how her digestion was so amazing using Digize. And I was like, you know what have I got to lose? So I messaged her. At the time I got what we called a starter kit, now a starter bundle, with 11 oils just to get this one oil because I was like so desperate. And somebody told me it was an amazing deal. I was like, okay, sign me up for that amazing deal. I will get that bottle of Digize. So I got it right away and I started using the Digize. And the girl that I had spoken to was like, start by just putting 2 drops on your belly or in your belly button and rubbing in a circular clockwise motion every single day. So reluctantly I tried and I was like, okay, this oil smells terrible, but I will test it out. And if you haven't smelled Digize, it's a mixture of like fennel, anise, peppermint, ginger, like all of your more digestive soothing herbs that you could think of are included in this blend. It's definitely not one that I would tell anybody to ever put in their diffuser. But like you're going to come to know tonight with me explaining my story, it is one that I would recommend every single person have in their arsenal. It is amazing. Even if you're not a chronic kind of digestive issue. Oh, Sonia, I love the smell of it. I love that. Even if you're not a chronic digestive issue sufferer, this is one to have on hand because I don't know a single person in their lifetime that hasn't dealt with a stomach issue at one point in time. And quite frequently when we deal with stomach issues, I feel like it's urgent. Like we need the support right away. It can be embarrassing. It can be a struggle if you're out and about or doing something or you're not in a place where you're comfortable. You want to nip that feeling in the butt. So having your Digize is so critical. So like I said, I started with doing 2 drops of Digize every single day, morning and night on my tummy, rubbing in a circular clockwise motion. And what started happening? I started, honest to goodness, this is my like plain truth, easy story. I started feeling better. I was still on a very restricted diet. So I hadn't introduced any new foods or anything like that. I was off gluten. I was off dairy. I was off corn. I was off eggs. So like all of your key allergens were out of my diet, but I was still struggling at that point. I was like up and down the like hills and valleys of digestive struggle. And when I started using this, I found that I was not having that like urgent, like all of a sudden my stomach wasn't complete agony during the day. I stopped feeling that. I used to wake up and I would feel like bloated and gross and my stomach was just like not in a happy spot. And all of a sudden this started getting better. So I was like, maybe these weird oils work. And into that, so this was kind of like what I describe as my gateway. And into that, I started learning, and we could talk all night long, probably for days about all of this, but I started learning about all of the different things within my day-to-day life that could be impacting my gut and my microbiome. And I think that some people, we look at a symptom and we think that's the issue. We're like, oh, you just have like, you have digestive issues, right? Your tummy just hurts. So you need to like put something on it to reduce the pain right now. But what I started to learn when I was using my natural products was that even though the symptom was present, it wasn't necessarily the root cause. And by constantly remedying and trying to fix the symptom with whatever solution that I was coming across, I was just pushing it further and further down. And then whenever it got the opportunity, it was like, hey, I'm still here. So I started digging deep. I started looking into, and like I said, we could talk about this all night. I started looking into the products I was using every single day. I started looking into the amount of times I was taking an antibiotic to treat issues that I was having and why those issues were coming up in the first place. I was a chronic sufferer, and I'm like, full disclosure, I have no boundaries in explaining things to people. I used to get UTIs and other chronic kind of infections all the time. And what did I do? I headed right on over to the clinic and I got an antibiotic, but I didn't know the impact that that was having on my gut. And this is where my handy little friend here comes in, because I started to learn about how the antibiotics I was taking, or how some of the other even items in my everyday life, like my cleaners or my personal care products, were tearing down the good bacteria that was within my gut. And it was leading to these ongoing chronic digestive issues. So Life9 entered my life while I was doing my research, and I was like, okay, once again, I've tried probiotics before, nothing seemed to work. But I tried these guys, and I have taken them every single day now for almost 5 years. And I noticed the moment that I go without them, guys, they are so amazing at helping to support my regular digestion, and they're just keeping things moving. In my pregnancy, I found them especially helpful because, as we know, lots of things tend to slow down in our digestive systems when we're carrying a baby. And my life was my all-time fallback. But all to say, it was a combination in that sense to me. Like the Life9 definitely helped, but helping to recognize the impact that some of my decisions in terms of products, in terms of things I was introducing into my body system, understanding the connection between all of these things and my guts was the key, I feel, to understanding and unlocking a lot of the issues that I was coping with. Now looking back, so I'm almost 5 years into ditching and switching, clearing out my lifestyle of all of the toxic sludge that there was so much, guys. I was a chronic candle user. I was like, everything scented all the time, get it on me. Like, I loved it. And I love when people come to me too, and they're like, they're embarrassed because they feel like I've just always been like breathing plant oils. And I'm like, no, sister. Like I was the number one worst person in my life. Like I was my own worst enemy in that sense. But this has helped me so much. And I don't feel people make that connection oftentimes to understand that their gut health is strongly correlated to so many other factors within their life. And that's what I think the power of not only just like having these natural solutions, but having a community and having the Young Living community behind you to try and understand and dig deep into all of these areas. Because like I said, guys, if we're always fixing that one singular symptom, we're never getting to the root cause. And there's a good chance that even if you're throwing a natural solution at the symptom all the time, it's going to keep coming back. And entering this lifestyle, and learning more about how all these things were impacting my overall health was the key for me to understanding my body as a whole and understanding the different factors that were playing into a lot of the issues that I was dealing with. So these are kind of my key top 2 that I would recommend to anybody dealing with digestive issues, but there's so many other things. Another couple things that I would recommend to anybody just getting started or looking into their digestive health: essential zymes are really, really helpful and supportive. That was something that I really leaned on, especially early on when I was dealing with still a lot of symptoms, especially eating some trigger foods. I'm now 5 years into this, and I can eat pretty much everything that I used to eliminate and like steer clear of. I can eat gluten, I can eat dairy. I eat them a lot more consciously now. And I think that's something irrespective of like natural solutions, I think paying attention to the sources of your food is also a really important factor that people don't consider when it comes to gut health. Looking towards organic options, if you have that available to you, at least Dirty Dozen, Clean 15, look into that. Looking for, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Marie, alkaline is still a lifesaver to me. I actually had a really unfortunate circumstance not long ago where I ate a whole bunch of pizza one night and I woke up in the middle of the night. Guys, like, I don't claim to be perfect in any sense because my diet is a very big mixture of like, sometimes I'm really healthy and some days I eat an entire pizza to myself. So the other night I ate a pizza and I woke up in the middle of the night and I had the heartburn. I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't felt this in so long. And I couldn't get back to sleep. And I'm like tossing and turning, tossing and turning. And my 1 a.m. self was like, alkaline, need it now. So I went, poured myself a glass. I was asleep within like 5 minutes. It's wild how amazing alkaline is. And I remember leaning on it in my pregnancy as well, because as we know, once again, alkaline, heartburn, really fun stuff. But yeah, so that's another really amazing digestive solution. Ningxia Red, I feel, has played a really key role in my overall recovery from a lot of my digestive issues, just because it provides me with a really good nutrient dense drink. It helps to keep my digestion working more smoothly, keeps me regular. And that's definitely something that I've noticed. The other thing that Ningxia Red does for me, along with like the Vitalite drops or Amino Wise, another amazing one, is it encourages me to drink water. And I think that's a really, really big component of anybody struggling with digestive issues, is not getting enough water in the day. I think everybody's a woman here, but I don't know about you guys, if anybody's a mama in the call too. Like, I sometimes get to the end of the day and I'm like, oh, I drank 1 glass of water today because I was just running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But I notice a drastic difference when I'm pouring my Ningxia in my water and like forcing myself to drink it through the day. I notice such a difference in not only my digestion, but my energy levels, the overall way that I feel. So that's just like a little touch into my journey. Like I said, we could talk all day and night about the things that I feel have contributed, but these were definitely my 2 really major crutches that I leaned on in the early days of supporting my digestion. And like I said, now I seldom even use my Digest. I always have it on hand. It's one that goes in my purse, but I really don't use it that often anymore. And it's really funny to me now. I think too, and this is actually to a point someone made before. They said they really like the smell of it. I have heard many, many times before, people have told me that you don't often like the smell of the oils you need the most. And I love the smell of Digest now because I think I associate it with that like calming, like feel better that it provided me with in those early days. I hated it in the beginning. And that, looking back to me now, is maybe my body's way of telling me like, this is what you need, girl. Like, you need this in an IV drip basically. But yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of my story. I know sometimes digestive stuff can be difficult to talk about. People get a little bit embarrassed, but I would encourage anybody that wants to ask a question to drop it in the chat or to unmute yourself and share. I'm an open book, like I said, so nothing is off limits if you have questions. Anybody? Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. So for me to see results, I'm not going to lie, it happened fairly quickly. Like, subtle results though. It was those like little bits, like I said, waking up in the morning and like not feeling like I was super duper bloated. I would say within a week or 2 even, I was seeing significant results. Now, when I started digging deeper, that's been like an overall transformation over time. Like, it took me, I would say, about a year to get to the point where I was willing and comfortable to start reintroducing some of those trigger foods that I was a little bit cautious of. And still sometimes I notice like I overindulge or I go a little bit too far and I still have those things crop up. But now it's nice because I know I can lean on those really quick natural solutions. I used to be like I used to pop Gravol quite regularly. I used to have those Zantac, the heartburn medication. I was actually on a prescription heartburn medication for some time too. I have been clear of all of that stuff since I started. I never kind of turned back. And I've never had to rely on them because thankfully I've had those solutions in my arsenal. But yeah, it was a really quick, subtle difference. But it was a long process in terms of getting it back to where I was like comfortable eating all the things again. Anything else? Oh yeah, digest hangovers. Yes. I actually, not so much right now, because we've got our little guy, so we don't have quite as much fun on the weekends these days, but I used to pop a couple drops of Digest in those veggie capsules for me and my husband after we went out for a night. Digest and Ningxia Red all day long. If you've had a little bit too much to drink or to eat, it is a really supportive way. And putting them in the capsules is a great way to kind of like get it down without having to taste it. Another really great solution too, guys, if you're dealing with like I used to deal with sudden like digestive complaints. I like, without sharing all the details, but like all of a sudden I would have the urge to go to the bathroom and like I would not be able to control it. It was like not comfortable at all. Putting a drop of Digest under my tongue. So under my tongue, you don't taste it, but it was the most fast acting way of supporting my digestive system. I would notice a difference within like minutes of doing that. I'm not kidding. And same, I've actually heard several people tell me stories. A girlfriend of mine told me she went away and she actually got traveler's diarrhea. So she was impacted in that yucky way. But she had her Digest thankfully drop under the tongue, was like feeling better within an hour. So it is wild how much of a difference this can make. Same thing too, guys. I have people come to me all the time about morning sickness. Even just smelling Digest from the bottle is oftentimes enough to help a pregnant mama feel 10 times better through the day. And if you struggle with morning sickness, like I did, you know that it's really not morning sickness, it's all day sickness. For a lot of people. So having this handy is super, super helpful. And peppermint as well is something that I would recommend. Anything else digestive related, guys? I'm like an open book when it comes to this stuff. Okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing that. I just saw your comment there about Nando's. Digest is definitely one of those ones too. Like you have it on hand at all times for those moments that you don't expect to need it. It is in my purse. It is in all of my luggage when I travel. Like no matter where I go, Digest is always on hand. I always hope that I don't need it, but it's always I'm very happy to see it when I do need it. All right. Well, if there's nobody else that has questions, there will be a recording of this call as well. So if you have somebody in your life or somebody that couldn't join the call tonight, yes, Michelle. Okay. Michelle coming in hot with a late. So that was actually one of my recurring issues was, amazing. Yeah. So I had to be like, to give you guys kind of full spectrum. With IBS, I rotated back and forth with like going way too much. And then all of a sudden I couldn't go for like a week or two. And that is, if you know anything about your digestion, and supporting that, you should not be going more than a day without having a bowel movement. And Digest, I found, was the number one game changer for me with constipation. When I was doing it consistently, the 2 drops on the tummies. Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to read all these comments. Has eliminated dairy, but it's not helping. Yeah. So Digest, definitely Life 9, 100%, for helping to support with constipation. I would say also water intake with Ningxia Red is a really good key role player when it comes to constipation. And just making sure you're getting in like the half your body weight in ounces of water and then some every single day. But Digest really, really supported me through constipation, just applying it to your lower abdomen and rubbing in a circular clockwise motion. There's also some really helpful techniques with VitaFlex points on your feet, that you follow the track of your intestines. I can share some information with you after the call too about that. That was something that was really helpful to me. You move along your digestive system to help things move along and out. The other cool thing with Digest too is I find it helps my little guy. He's 9 months old now, but Digest, I could not imagine living in a world without it with him, because so many little people, as they start introducing food, they deal with constipation because their little guts are just getting used to it, digesting food. Whenever I can tell he's getting a little bit constipated, I have a roller that I put on him. I just roll it really quickly in a circle. He thinks it's hilarious. He like giggles the whole time as I put it on. And then I just rub his belly and massage. And I kid you not, he's either burping or pooping within a half an hour. It is wild how quickly it works. Laura says ICP. Yes. So ICP, I actually just ordered, and I'm really excited to try that one out.
I'll warn you though,
Yeah.
ICP itself tastes like Digest smells. Okay.
Okay.
So like, just to warn you, I've tried it in smoothies, I've tried it in everything, but Young Living just came out with ICP Daily, and it is so yummy and so good. It's available via NFR, and my little guy will drink it back as if it's nothing, and we add it to our smoothies because it makes our smoothies taste better rather than worse. So ICP Daily, highly recommend.
Amazing.
It
I'm
does
so excited
taste
to try.
really good. It's like drinking a little juice. I really enjoy it, and I hate ICP. I cannot take it, but ICP Daily is really good.
I wish I ordered ICP Daily now. I just ordered ICP because I heard a lot of women talking about it, and I thought this is like the next level for my digestion. And I was so excited to try it, but I'll try and choke it down anyways. But yeah, like Alyssa said, ICP, we like to say it stands for IC poo, which is obviously really supportive. I know so many women, guys, like if you're feeling like you're alone in dealing with digestive issues, or feeling like it's normal to not go to the bathroom every day, I feel like this is such a taboo topic that nobody talks about. But so many women especially are dealing with chronic constipation. And for your body to flush out the toxins and the stuff in your guts and in your body that need out, you need to be having regular bowel movements, guys. So like I'm all game for talking about this with people, because I feel like until you get to the root of gut issues, you're really not going to solve a lot of those other overarching issues within your body, like hormone imbalances, that kind of stuff. Yes, totally. ICP Daily for the help with bowel movements, along with Digest, along with Life 9. And then just taking a really hard look at some of the other products within your life or other environmental factors that could be playing into the gut issues that you're having. So if you're constantly leaning on antibiotics, if you're using a lot of harsh chemicals or harsh products with lots of fragrance in them, that can really negatively be impacting your microbiome, and therefore resulting in these recurring chronic issues. No matter how many things you throw at it, you're probably going to have to get to the root cause before you solve anything. Oh, yes. Yeah, so iron supplements too can be really troublesome. I also had to use them in my pregnancy, and they very quickly stop any kinds of bowel movements. But yeah, leaning on a good probiotic along with those, and doing the other things to help move things along within your system. Yeah, that it's a tough one to it's a tough pill to swallow is kind of what I was going to say. But yeah, it's really rough. Iron supplements can be like a love-hate relationship, because obviously they're very needed in some circumstances, but they can lead to other issues. So really important to be offsetting the impact that those are having on your digestion with some of these amazing tools. Definitely a probiotic, and definitely Digest in that case. Any other questions before we wrap up? I won't keep going on. I could talk poop all night. Yes, and definitely iron. So that's another really important part too. Somebody just dropped in the chat, iron should always be taken with vitamin C for absorption, and that helps to keep your digestive system moving as well. Vitamin C can be really helpful. But always, like I remember in pregnancy, I would always take my iron supplement with a glass of orange juice, or I would make up my iron smoothies with like spinach and an orange, so that it helps your body with absorption versus having the iron have a negative impact on your system. All right. I will let you guys all go. Stay tuned, guys. If you're interested and you like hearing these stories, we will have more stories every Tuesday in the coming weeks. And we look forward to sharing with you guys. Like I said, there's a recording. So if somebody didn't get a chance to join and you want to send it to them, reach out to one of our hosts tonight. Whoever steered you to this call in the first place, we can get you a link and we can send you the recording so you can check it out. All right. Have a good night, everyone.